and then lockdown came. Then there was the worry of not getting the car, and then when she did turn up, we weren't able to get the map on it in time. So I had a car sat on the driveway, ready to go, but couldn't really drive it, so just polished it every day and cleaned it. And then when the rolling road opened back up, we were straight down there and got the map on it, and away we went. I'm Andy, and I own a Mitsubishi Evolution 8. Had it for just January, bought it of this year. So how many months is that? Seven months. I've had numerous cars. I started off with a little Citroen Saxo back in the day in this hideous green colour. And then I've had things from MGs to German cars. Last one before this was an Audi TT. So I was part of the German crew at the time, and then decided that it was time for the Evo. Now we're in the Evo. Get in the car. Well, started off looking up and down the country, really, just trolling the internet, and then luck would have it, turns out 6-7 miles down the road from here, there's a guy who specialises in Japanese imports more than anything, Stuart Sports and Performance. And we rang him up one day, and he said he had a couple of cars there to come and have a look at. So went down, looked at a white one, it was standard. I think it was an FQ260, I think it was, and unmolested. Just imported in it, it'd only been in the country for about a week. Had a look round, really happy with it. And then he started asking me questions about what I'd want to do to the car. And then started reeling off all the modifications and the direction that I might want to go down. And he turned around and says, well, just so happens I've got one a bit further down the lot here that's had quite a lot of work done to it. And have a look at that. So we had a look at that, and that was it. I fell in love with it straight away. And the state of the car, yeah, it was not very well. It had been a car that was won on a competition originally. A lad won it, I think, for 18 quid. So for £18 he won himself a Mitsubishi Evolution 8. It was only half forged, I believe, at the time. Unfortunately, it had a blown bottom end on the car, so the bearings on the bottom end had gone. Due to the lad who had it previous, who won it for £18. I couldn't afford to repair it, and obviously just thrashed it to death, unfortunately, and sold it to Stuart. And then Stuart turned around to me and says, look, if you're interested in this car, we've got an opportunity to do some great things with it, because it's going to need a rebuild anyway. What do you want to do? So I was like, well, might as well, because it's a lot of car for the money. So I says, let's go for it. So we made a decision on changing it from a 2 litre to a 2.3 litre stroker. So yeah, he went and did the build on it for me. Well, a lot of it actually, restoration wise, the car came with a lot already pre-done. It's been owned by quite a few people. I think it's about 13 owners in total. I believe there was a company called Extreme Carbon actually had the car as a show car for a while. So they banged a lot of the carbon splitters and side skirts and bits of detail actually on the car. Build-wise, for me, the main focus was the engine, really, more than anything, gearbox and stuff. It needed to be a good, solid running Evo. So we decided to go from this 2 litre to a 2.3 stroker. As we were going through the car, Stuart was finding other things that needed to be replaced. So we ended up going from, I'm going to get a new sump, a new turbo. The turbo had gone in it as well, so we had to upgrade that. The list started getting a bit endless for him, but he came through and he finished the build off nicely for me. Interior of the car has had a full interior change from standard. It now has red leather inserts on the Recaro seats, front and back. Door cards have been changed. There is screens in the back of the Recaro seats that unfortunately aren't working at the moment because I need to change the wiring for those, but they're there ready. Lots of carbon on the inside. Snap-off removable steering wheel, great for security. I've not got any plans, I don't think, myself at the minute of doing any more inside. A few more speakers maybe, just to make the quality of the sound system a little bit better, but not ridiculous. I'm not looking for a big massive boombox in back or anything, just something that I can hear over my exhaust would be nice. Me, I really like the exterior of the car the way it is at the minute. There's nothing really I want to change. Paintwork, that's probably going to need addressing at some point. There's a couple of little stone chips that are knocking about, but exterior of the car is pretty good. I've been lucky, and underneath the car is really good because they're renowned for rusting. So luckily this one's pretty solid. Car's purpose, full-on enjoyment really. I've wanted one since I was a kid. I had a driving experience day that I went to. It was actually a red Evo that I drove then, and that was an 8 as well, and went round a track. I thought I was driving like 1,000,000 miles an hour and I was brilliant, until the guy who owned the car got in the car and went round the track with me in the car, and then I realised that it's so fast. It was brilliant. To purpose now, weekends, day trips out, shows. We're going to car shows and just enjoying it really, day to day. It needs to be driven, it's a car. Being able to own one was the biggest achievement for me really, because I've wanted one for years, and it's been something that's always been put off. An opportunity came up to get one years ago and you just didn't do it, and to go insensible and I'll get a sensible car and stuff, but no, biggest achievement for me is to actually being able to own one, and I won't be selling it, I'm keeping that. Do it again? I'd do it again, but I'd still be keeping that one. I'd do it again. I mean, the next project for us, I think, is me and Sam, my girlfriend. She's into her cars as well. So the next step for us is getting her dream car. So we're looking at a couple of options at the minute. So it's got a Toyota Galanza, or the real dream car was the Renault GT5 Turbo. They're getting really rare, so they're quite difficult to get. But so the next thing for us is car for her, and that's doing it again, I suppose. Getting the car, built from we bought the car in January. Had to wait a long time for the build. Some bits had to come from the States, I believe, for the car. So we waited a bit, and then lockdown came, and then there was the worry of not getting the car. And then when she did turn up, we weren't able to get the map on it in time. So I had a car sat on the driveway, ready to go, but couldn't really drive it. So just polished it every day and cleaned it. And then when the rolling road opened back up, we were straight down there and got the map on it, and away we went. Yeah, the sound of the car when we got it without the map on was hideous. My neighbours hate me. The first few days we had it, it did basically sound like a drag car. So every time we started it up, it was drivable, but there was no boost, so I couldn't boost the car or anything. It was drivable, just to help run it in a bit. But I came out of my driveway, went down the road, and there's a car sales lot at the bottom of the street. And we pulled out of the road down there, and I set off about 4 or 5 car alarms in there, which was ridiculous. So yeah, she was loud. Toned down a bit now, but neighbours still hate me. I believe The biggest difficulties for Stuart was the fact that we'd agreed on a price for the vehicle without him really going into depth of what needed doing, and it was a case of finding things on his journey of rebuilding the engine that he didn't think needed replacing, such as turbos and some bits and bobs like that. So really the headache was his. It was a bonus for me because I'd agreed on a price anyway, so I'd say that's probably the biggest headache, I'd say. Yes, end result has been spot on. I couldn't be happier, to be honest. They've done a great job with the build. There's not much it wants now, really, as I say, apart from a little fiddling with the gearbox, I think, maybe. Maybe a tweak on the map. At the moment, the build is capable of 750, I believe, for the engine. But we're running at 505 on the dyno at the minute. But for me to achieve the 750, it's going to be a bigger turbo and a bigger ECU. So that's probably another thing to add to the mod list, I'd say, at some point. Sorry, just love driving. If I get any opportunity to go anywhere, it's me that's always the driver. I'm like, I'll drive, I'm going anywhere. Anyone who's drinking or anything like that, I'm not bothered, I'll drive. Driving experience between this one and previous, it's a different animal altogether. It's been very different to get used to things like a twin plate clutch and just the general power that it puts down. I mean, the Audi that I had previous was only running 300 brake horsepower, and it was pretty much standard when it comes to things like the clutch and gearbox and stuff. So running something like this now, it's a learning curve. Got to respect it, because if I don't respect it, it'll want to kill me. That's all it wants to do all the time, is try and kill you. So yeah, I'd say that's the differences. Top speed of the car, going off what the guy said, they're saying about 180. I've had about 145 so far. There's definitely a lot more in it, I know there is, so we shall see when we get the opportunity and the space to do it. It's a head turner. It's a bright red Evo. You can't hide it. Every time you go past people, there's a lot of head turners in there all the time. People waving. A guy a couple of days ago pulled up next to me in the car and he's beeping his horn and he's giving me the thumbs up. Nice car, some taxi driver I think he was. And so it gets a lot of attention when it's out. Yeah, you can't miss it. The whole community of car clubs I think has changed a lot over the years. I've been going to a lot of general car shows and meets because I'm old, so I've been at it for a while, just going having a look at different places, and I've seen a big change and shift in the sort of culture of cars, where it's broken away a little bit now, where you've got these meets at a local supermarket and it's a lot of young'uns and they're very disrespectful and they're trashing the area that they're in and just general idiots really, which has put a downer a little bit on the scene. But then you've got proper clubs that are well organised, such as exclusive JDM, which we're proud to be part of, that is able to put on quality shows with quality people. Everyone's dead respectful. There's no atmosphere or attitudes between everyone's able to talk to each other, exchange information, and it's growing. So yeah, I'd say that exclusive JDM's the right club for us.